Hello and welcome back to Horoscope TV. It is so good to have you here with us. We're analyzing a month that, quite honestly, looks like a roller coaster ride designed specifically for one sign.
A very specific roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are a Libra, or if you have a lot of Libra placements in your chart, sun, moon, rising, grab a comfortable seat, maybe some tea, or perhaps something stronger, because we need to talk about March 2026.
It is great to be back. And yes, looking at the charts for March 2026, I'd say roller coaster is a very apt description. But I want to be clear right off the bat, it's a purposeful roller coaster.
Right.
It's not just chaos for the sake of chaos. The planetary alignment is actually trying to get you somewhere specific.
Which is good to know, because usually when we pull the data for Libra, we expect a certain vibe.
We expect breeziness.
Yes, breeziness. We expect packed social calendars.
Yeah.
We expect the scales to be relatively balanced, maybe tipping slightly towards a nice dinner party or a gallery open.
Yeah.
But looking at this astrological data, the vibe for March 2026 feels different. It feels deeper.
It feels much heavier.
Yeah, heavier. The headline here seems to be this intense duality between preparation and relationship focus. It's almost like two completely different months crammed into 30 days.
That is the core tension right there. If we look at the planetary movements, we are seeing a push and pull that is really quite rare. On one hand, you have massive activity in the most hidden private sectors of the chart.
The parts we don't usually talk about at parties.
Exactly. The subconscious, the fears, the shadows. But then on the other hand, later in the month, you have this absolute explosion of energy in the partnership sector. So the mission for us today is to analyze how you, as a Libra, navigate this.
Right.
How do you handle wanting to, hide under the covers one minute and then needing to be the charming diplomat the next?
It's the classic introvert-extrovert struggle, but basically amplified by the cosmos. And we aren't just talking about minor transits here. We have some real heavy hitters on the board this month.
You really do.
We've got Venus, your ruling planet, making major moves that, frankly, a bit out of character for her. We have Saturn, the taskmaster, the principle of the zodiac. And we have a lunar eclipse right out of the gate.
We do. And that eclipse is really setting the stage. It promises a month that starts quiet, almost surprisingly quiet, but ends with significant long-term decisions that could reshape your future.
Wow.
It's a narrative arc. You really can't skip the beginning to get to the end.
So let's unpack this. Let's start right at the beginning of the month, because the energy shifts are immediate. We are looking at early March, specifically the spiritual and emotional landscape. The month essentially opens with a major event on March 3rd.
The lunar eclipse.
Yes, a lunar eclipse. Now, for Libra, this isn't happening in the spotlight, is it?
No, not at all. It is occurring in the most private, hidden sector of your chart. Astrologers call this the 12th house.
Now, we see 12th house in the astrological data a lot. For the listener who might just, casually check their horoscope, how should they visualize the 12th house? Because that always sounds a bit spooky.
It can be a little spooky, but it's also incredibly necessary. Think of your life as a house. The first house is your front porch. It's what everyone sees. The 4th house is your living room. The 10th house is your home office.
Okay.
The 12th house, that's the attic. Or maybe the basement storage unit you rent across town and haven't visited in 5 years.
Well, the place where you shove the things you just don't want to deal with. The old yearbooks, the broken lamps, the emotional baggage.
Exactly that. It's the realm of the subconscious, hidden enemies, and self-undoing. It's where we store our fears, our secrets, and our unprocessed trauma. When an eclipse hits that area...
And an eclipse is essentially a massive, high-voltage spotlight.
Right, when that spotlight hits, it's not an external boom. You aren't going to see fireworks in the street. It's an internal boom. It represents a spiritual awakening, a massive letting go of the past, and processing feelings that might have buried for years.
I really love that analogy. It's like, okay, imagine your mind as that house. This eclipse is like deciding to finally clean out that attic. You have to be alone to do it. You can't have a dinner party while you're
sorting through dusty old boxes of memories.
Right. You can't be entertaining while crying over an old love letter. It might be dusty, it might be emotional, you might sneeze a lot. But once those boxes are gone, you have all this newly cleared space.
That is perfect. And because that work is so profoundly internal, the listener might feel a very uncharacteristic urge to just cancel everything.
Which is so anti-Libra.
It really is. If you are a Libra who usually says yes to every happy hour, every coffee date, every gallery opening, you might find yourself on March 3rd turning off your phone, drawing the curtains and just sitting in silence.
And usually a Libra doing that would feel incredibly guilty. They'd feel like they're letting people down by not showing up.
That's the key point here. The analysis suggests that you absolutely should do that. You need that solitude to process. You cannot do this 12th house work with an audience.
You really can't.
If you try to force yourself to be social during this eclipse window, you are going to feel exhausted. It's like trying to run a marathon while you have the flu. Your spiritual immune system is busy doing something else entirely.
So if you're feeling antisocial early in the month, do not beat yourself up. It's cosmic. It's required.
Yeah.
But here is where it gets really interesting, because that heavy, dusty attic energy doesn't actually last very long. It's a quick purge.
Yes, it is.
Because literally the very next day, March 4th, the moon enters Libra.
Exactly. And this is why this specific astrological data is so fascinating to analyze. The timing is precise.
Yeah.
You have the purge of the eclipse on the 3rd, dealing with the subconscious, and then on the 4th, the moon enters your sign, the 1st house. This is the cosmic reset button.
So you wake up on the 4th and you feel
Lighter, you feel like yourself again, but a much cleaner version of yourself. The moon in your sign aligns your emotions with your identity. It provides a brief window of feeling emotionally in tune with oneself. You've done the hard work of the eclipse, you've cleared the space in the attic, and now you can inhabit the rest of the house comfortably.
It's like the feeling right after a really good cry. You cry it out, you wash your face, and suddenly the world looks a little sharper.
That is exactly the sensation. And you need that clarity because the script flips entirely. We move from the attic to the ballroom. Let's talk about the social explosion, because your ruling planet, Venus, is on the move.
This is the part that gave me whiplash just reading the charts. We go from the deep isolation of March 3rd to Venus, the planet of love and beauty, entering the most social part of the chart on March 6th.
It is a massive pivotal moment. On March 6th, Venus enters Aries. Now, Aries is the sign directly opposite Libra on the zodiac wheel. This is highly significant. For Libra, Aries represents the sector of social life, partnerships, and the other.
But wait, I have to pause here. Aries is the opposite sign of Libra. Usually when a planet is in its opposite sign, astrologers call that being in detriment.
Yes, they do.
It's uncomfortable, like wearing shoes on the wrong feet.
Yeah.
So why are the charts suggesting this is a good thing right now?
That is a very sharp observation. Technically, yes, Venus is in detriment in Aries. She doesn't have her usual tools of subtle diplomacy and passive grace. Aries is fire. It's bold, it's quick, it's initiating. But in this specific context, coming right out of that heavy, foggy eclipse, the detriment actually becomes a weapon.
Oh.
Because Libra needs a little Aries energy sometimes. Libra can be chronically indecisive. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? When Venus is in Aries, you stop asking. You say, we are eating Italian.
Oh, so it cures the chronic indecision.
It makes you bold, and people love that. After the fog of the eclipse, you reemerge with this magnetic, assertive confidence. You aren't just attending the party, you're initiating the party. The energy moves from introspection to interaction almost overnight. You'll be so eager to connect.
The forecast notes that this is a social superpower moment. It says Libra will find it easy to smooth over conflicts.
Yes, because Venus is fundamentally happy when it's connecting people. With the Aries energy, you have the confidence to approach people, maybe people you were previously intimidated by, and with your natural Libra charm, you have the grace to handle them. People are going to be magnetically drawn to you during this transit because you are projecting both warmth and strength.
This sounds like the fun part of the month. If the eclipse was the cleaning, this is the party you throw afterwards.
Yeah.
You're weaponizing that Libra charm for good.
Precisely. And it's important to utilize this window. But as we move into the next phase, we see that this isn't just about casual parties. Venus in Aries puts a massive spotlight on love and romance.
Oh, absolutely. The data is very clear on this.
Yeah.
Love is the absolute center of the universe for Libra in March 2026, which, let's be honest, is usually where Libra wants it to be anyway.
It is. Libras are ruled by Venus. They live for connection. When Venus lights up that partnership sector in Aries, if you are in a relationship, this is often described as a peak passion moment. You are reigniting the spark.
So no more boring evenings on the couch.
Right. You aren't just roommates passing in the hall anymore. You are feeling closer than ever. You're fighting less about who is going to do the dishes and focusing a lot more on the chemistry.
And what about for the single Libras out there?
Because it is Aries energy, you aren't looking for someone subtle. You aren't looking for a slow burn. You're looking for someone bold, someone exciting. The attraction is to energy, action, and initiative. You want to be swept off your feet. You might actually find yourself attracted to people who are much more direct than your usual type.
Okay, so we are sweeping, we are swooning, everything is red roses and
Yeah.
fireworks. But there is always a but in astrology, isn't there? The universe loves a plot twist.
Always.
On March 8th, just 2 days after Venus enters this exciting zone, Venus runs straight into Saturn.
Yes. Venus conjunct Saturn, the ultimate buzzkill transit.
Now, whenever I hear Saturn, I think of a stern principal walking into the cafeteria and the music just stops.
Yeah.
Everyone is throwing food and laughing,
Yeah.
and then absolute silence.
That is not an unfair characterization at all. Saturn is the planet of restriction, responsibility, and maturity. It is the adult in the room. So you have Venus and Aries saying, let's have fun, let's fall in love, let's elope.
Yeah.
And Saturn steps in and says, okay, but can we afford this? Is this sustainable? What are the rules? Have you thought about the insurance?
What does that actually look like in a real relationship scenario? Say you're dating someone new, the chemistry is Aries hot, and then Saturn walks in. You just break up.
It's a sobering moment. It doesn't necessarily mean a breakup, and that is very important to stress. It is a get-real transit. It implies that a practical issue arises. Maybe you are madly in love, but suddenly you have to discuss mortgage rates. Or you have to deal with a limitation. Perhaps one of you has to work late. Or there is a family obligation that takes precedence over date night.
So it's a demand for maturity. It's testing if the foundation is strong enough to hold up all that fun Aries fire energy.
Exactly. It's ensuring the structure supports the passion. If the relationship is solid, you just deal with the practical stuff and move on. Okay, we can't go out tonight because you have to work. Fine. If it's not solid, well, Saturn will reveal the cracks. If the only thing holding you together is the fun, Saturn will show you that the fun isn't enough.
It acts as a filter.
It's a stress test. And frankly, for a sign like Libra that can sometimes fall in love with the idea of love, Saturn is actually quite helpful. It forces you to look at the reality of the person sitting across from you.
And the tests don't stop there.
Yeah.
Moving along the timeline, on March 18th, we have another interaction. Venus squares Jupiter. Now, Jupiter's usually the good luck planet, so why is this listed as a danger zone?
Because Jupiter expands everything it touches, and a square is a tension aspect. When you have Venus, which is desire, squaring Jupiter, which is expansion, the trap is extreme overindulgence.
So it's too much of a good thing.
Correct. Unrealistic expectations. You feel so good in the moment that you promise things you simply can't deliver. Yes, let's book that expensive trip to Bali. Yes, I'll move in with you next week. Yes, I'll pay for everyone's dinner.
It's that feeling of complete invincibility. Like, I can afford the round of drinks, and then the narrator voice chimes in, he could not afford the round of drinks.
Exactly that. The advice here is crucial. Keep your feet on the ground while the heart soars. Don't write checks, emotionally or financially, that you can't cash later. Enjoy the feeling, but maybe don't sign the contract just yet.
That is fantastic advice. Ride the wave, but keep the pen in your pocket. But then, as we get toward the end of the month, we have a really beautiful moment, March 26th. Venus connects with Chiron.
Right. Chiron is known as the wounded healer in astrology. When the planet of love touches the wounded healer, it creates a really profound opportunity for emotional repair.
This sounds lovely. It's about healing old relationship wounds.
Yes. And that could be wounds from your current relationship, maybe an argument you had 6 months ago that you never really resolved, or it could be baggage you're carrying from 10 years ago. It's a moment where true forgiveness becomes accessible. You can forgive yourself for past mistakes, or forgive a partner. It's about clearing that emotional baggage we talked about earlier in the attic to make room for the future.
And that beautifully clears the way for the grand finale of the love sector. March 30th, Venus enters Taurus.
Taurus is the other sign ruled by Venus. While Libra is about the social, intellectual aspect of love, Taurus is about the sensual, secure, grounded aspect. When Venus moves there, the turbulence ends. You enter a phase of deep intimacy and absolute trust.
So you start with the fireworks of Aries, you navigate the rigorous tests of Saturn and the delusion of Jupiter, you heal with Chiron, and you finally land in the cozy, secure blanket of Taurus. That is quite a journey for 1 month.
It is a complete narrative arc in 30 days. If you navigate the middle properly, the ending is very sweet.
Now, while all this drama is happening in the love life, we still have to go to work. The world doesn't stop just because Venus is having a moment. Let's look at career and routine. And surprise, surprise, that lunar eclipse on March 3rd is playing a role here too.
It is. Because of the axis this eclipse falls on, the 6th house and 12th house axis, it actively affects the daily schedule and your work life. We mentioned the internal shakeup, but in a practical sense, this could manifest as a sudden end to a work project or a major disruption in your daily routine.
That sounds stressful. Libra usually likes a nice, balanced routine.
It can be destabilizing. Maybe a client cancels out of nowhere, or a project gets scrapped by upper management, or your boss suddenly changes the entire direction of the team. But the silver lining, again, is reorganization. It's a chance to drop inefficient habits. If you've been doing something at work just because that's how we've always done it, the eclipse might break that cycle and force you to find a better, healthier way.
And you're going to need that efficiency because Mars is entering Pisces on March 2nd.
Right. Mars is the engine room. It represents action, energy, and drive. Pisces is the sign of service, empathy, and boundary dissolving. When Mars is in the sector of daily work and service, you have incredible energy to tackle your to-do list, especially if it helps others. You really want to be of service.
But I'm sensing a however coming. Mars in Pisces, that feels a bit watery for an engine.
However, Mars and Pisces can have leaky boundaries.
Yeah.
This is the classic savior complex.
Yeah.
You might find yourself doing your job and then helping your colleague with their job and then organizing the office birthday party and then staying late to clean up the break room.
You're doing everyone else's work because you feel bad or you just want to help. You essentially become the office martyr.
Exactly. And that leads directly to burnout. The expert advice here is very specific. You must set boundaries. Mars in Pisces energy can completely drain you if you don't put up a psychic wall that says, this is my work, that is your work. You have to learn to say no, which is historically very hard for Libra.
So help out, but do not become the doormat. Now, later in the month, the career focus shifts again. On March 20th, the sun enters Aries.
And this lights up that partnership zone again. But in a career context, this isn't about romance. This is about business alliances. This is the best time for contracts. The forecast says you shine when you work in a pair.
So if you're struggling with a project, don't go it alone. Find a buddy.
Find a complement. Find someone who has the skills you lack. And then, on March 25th, the sun makes a sextile aspect to Pluto. Pluto is the planet of power, transformation, and wealth. This adds significant weight to negotiations. If you are looking to close a major deal, secure funding, or make a career power move, that late March window is highly favorable.
So the overarching strategy is boundaries early in the month, prevent the leaks, then partnerships and power moves late in the month. Let's pivot to money, the financial forecast, spending versus saving.
This ties right back to that Venus square Jupiter aspect we mentioned on March 18th.
Or danger zone.
Precisely. In finance, this manifests as pure extravagance, the intense desire to impress. You might be out on a date because Venus is in Aries, and you want to look successful. You want to look generous, so you order the most expensive bottle of wine on the menu, or you buy a lavish gift for someone you literally just met.
Check the bank balance before swiping. That is the direct quote from the analysis.
It is vital. Generosity is a beautiful trait of Libra, but you cannot put your security at risk for a fleeting moment of validation. You might actually be using spending as a way to cope with the stress of the Saturn transit. Like, if I buy this nice thing, I won't feel so restricted.
Retail therapy. We have all been there. And there was a reality check coming here too, right? The full moon on March 3rd.
Yes, the full moon illuminates the axis of work and income. This brings a sudden epiphany. You might realize I'm working way too hard for this amount of money, or my spending habits simply do not match my actual earnings.
That terrible moment where you look at the credit card bill and your stomach just drops.
But that drop is necessary. It forces action. The advice is to create a realistic budget immediately. Don't wait. Because if you do that, you prepare yourself for the windfall at the end of the month.
Tell us about the windfall. Everyone loves a windfall.
March 30th, Venus enters Taurus. As we said, Taurus rules security. But in this specific chart for Libra, Taurus rules the 8th house. This is the house of shared resources and other people's money.
Ooh, other people's money. I always like the sound of that.
It's a very lucky transit. It can predict benefits through an inheritance, investments finally paying off, or perhaps a partner getting a raise which benefits the entire household. It's also a great time to apply for a loan or resolve lingering tax issues. It implies that resources come to you from outside sources.
So weather the storm of the impulse buying in the middle of the month, tighten the belt, and there is tangible stability waiting at the end. Now, let's look at health and wellness. We've got Mars in Pisces starting March 2nd.
Mars gives physical drive. It's a great motivator to start a new exercise program or get back to the gym. But Mars is also a hot planet. It rules fever, inflammation, heat. In the sensitive, watery sign of Pisces, it can bring sudden inflammation or unexpected fevers.
So definitely exercise, but maybe don't train for a marathon on day one.
Correct. Do not push too hard too fast. Your body is much more sensitive than usual. Listen to it carefully. If you feel a twinge, stop.
And speaking of sensitivity, the data mentions the lunar eclipse impact on habits.
Eclipses are fantastic for breaking ingrained patterns. Because it's a time of purging, the cosmic push is there to quit smoking, cut back on sugar, or whatever that toxic habit is for you. The body wants to purge the physical toxins, just like the mind wants to purge the emotional ones. It's arguably the best time of the year to start a detox.
There is also a specific mental health alert for March 22nd. The Sun joins Neptune.
Sun conjunct Neptune. Neptune is the planet of dreams, illusions, and fog. When the sun, which represents your vitality, hits Neptune, it's like driving into a thick fog bank. You might experience intense brain fog, extreme fatigue, or just a general sense of unreality.
So if you wake up on the 22nd and feel like you're walking through soup, that's why.
And don't fight it with caffeine. That is the key. The remedy is to lean into it. Meditation, being near water, prioritizing a peaceful mind. If you try to force high-level logical productivity on March 22nd, you will just get frustrated. You cannot outthink Neptune. You have to flow with it.
Good to know. Mark that date, everyone. March 22nd is a permissible, lazy day. Or a creative day. Paint something, but do not try to do your taxes. Now let's get to the really juicy part. Compatibility corner. Who should Libra hang out with this month, and who should they absolutely avoid?
The charts are very clear on the winner this month. The best match is Sagittarius.
Sag. The adventurer. The philosopher. Why them?
It's a combination of several factors. First, on March 9th, Mercury trines Jupiter. This creates absolutely fantastic conversational energy. Libra and Sagittarius both love to learn, explore new ideas, and philosophize. You will just never run out of things to talk about. It's that feeling of sitting at a cafe for 4 hours and not even realizing how much time has passed.
I can easily see that. And with the Sun in Aries later in the month.
Right, Sagittarius is a fire sign, just like Aries. They encourage Libra to take risks. Libra can sometimes be indecisive, weighing the pros and cons endlessly. Sagittarius steps in and says, let's just do it, let's go. And right now, Libra finds that incredibly refreshing. Plus, on March 10th, Venus aligns with Pluto, deepening the appreciation for truth. Sagittarius is known for being brutally honest. Usually that might hurt Libra's feelings, but this month, you crave the authenticity. You want someone who cuts right through the noise.
You want someone who just tells it exactly like it is. Does this outfit look good? No. Thank you. Okay, so go find a Sagittarius. Who is the worst match?
Capricorn?
Oof. Sorry, Capricorns. Why is this a no-go for March?
It comes back to that Venus and Saturn conjunction on March 8th. Remember the principal energy we discussed? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. They embody that strict energy naturally.
So while Libra wants romance and fun and spontaneity, Capricorn wants to discuss what? The rules.
Rules, responsibilities, career paths, rigid 5-year plans. The conflict is fundamental here. Libra wants warmth, but Capricorn, especially with the moon entering Capricorn on March 12th, will seem cold and overly practical.
And the criticism aspect.
That is the peak tension on March 25th when the Sun meets Saturn. A Capricorn partner might look at Libra's spending or social life and offer very harsh criticism. You aren't being serious enough. You're wasting money. Why are you going out again? It's a vibe that can completely crush the gentle Libra spirit this month. You will feel like you are constantly walking on eggshells.
Yikes. Okay, maybe steer clear of the sea goat for a few weeks. Or just agree to disagree until April rolls around. Let's lighten the mood with Libra's Lucky Charm Guide. What do we need to know to boost the positive vibes?
The color of the month is pink. Specifically, hex code FFC0CB.
Pink. That is classic Libra.
It fits the overarching theme of healing with Chiron and romance with Venus. It's soft, it's inviting, it naturally disarms people. Wearing pink or having it around you aligns with that heart-centered energy. It signals to the universe that you are genuinely open to love and healing.
And what are the lucky numbers?
We are looking at 6, 15, 24, 33, 42, and 51. Multiples of 3 and 6, mostly.
And if you are planning big events, what are the best dates for the calendar?
March 4th, for that emotional balance when the moon is in Libra, that's your feeling good day. March 9th, for those inspiring conversations we talked about, schedule your brainstorming sessions then. And March 20th, the start of partnership season, which is great for dates or big business meetings.
Fantastic. Now, we have been hinting at this all show, but we need to address the true climax of the month, the final important conversation happening on March 25th.
This is the culmination of the Venus and Saturn story, but now involving the Sun. The Sun meets Saturn in the partnership zone. This is the big one.
It sounds very heavy.
It is significant. It represents testing or officially cementing a commitment. This is the scenario where you have a definitive conversation with a spouse or a business partner about the actual future. It's the State of the Union address for your relationship.
So it's the "where is this going" talk.
Exactly. Or the "are we signing this 5-year contract" talk. It feels heavy in the moment because Saturn demands weight and gravity. You cannot laugh this one off. But the takeaway is that absolute clarity is the ultimate reward. You walk away from March 25th knowing exactly where you stand. It defines your future security.
And honestly, after a month of intense ups and downs, clarity sounds pretty good. Even if the answer is no, at least you finally know.
It is essential. You simply cannot build a solid future on ambiguity.
So let's step back from what we've looked at: the eclipse, the love roller coaster, the work boundaries. What is the real big picture here?
If we analyze this holistically, I think there is a profound irony at play. Libra is the sign of balance and the sign of the other. But to succeed this month, to get that amazing partnership commitment at the end, you actually have to start with the imbalance of the eclipse.
You mean the solitude in the beginning?
Yes, you have to go into that attic alone. You have to do the heavy 12th house work. The most important relationship to fix this month isn't with the bold Aries or the chatty Sagittarius. It's the relationship with the self during that eclipse on March 3rd.
That is such a powerful, provocative thought for everyone to mull over. You can't really be a good partner until you've thoroughly cleaned out your own attic. If you skip the cleaning, you're just bringing all that old dust into the new relationship.
Precisely. The deep preparation makes the joyful relationship possible. The deliberate imbalance of the start creates the beautiful balance of the end.
Well, there you have it, Libras. March 2026 is yours for the taking. Clean the attic, enjoy the party, watch your wallet, and have that big conversation. Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Horoscope TV.
It was a true pleasure to analyze the stars with you.
Remember, the stars are always moving, and so are we. If you want to keep navigating the cosmos with clarity, make sure to subscribe so that you can get notified when the next episode is available. Until then, take care.